Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Officer Marakat, Shield of Wisdom, Norfolk. Hey, how everybody doing? Hey, remember, go into the chat and comment, share, and remember, subscribe. Got to get this pushed out, got to get into the algorithm. Um, with much thought, it's cold outside, so I'm going to go during the day. you know, I usually get out there like around 5. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy my Shabbat rest. Because, the work week be crazy. 12 to 13 hours of driving. Captivity's mother. But first and foremost, Colossians 3 and 17, as it will be always. It's the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of Hamashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Most High Yahweh, Basham Hamashiach Yahushai. All right? So today, man, I'm going to be going in on this book right here. How to Deal with White People. By who? By David Goldberg. Now, see that? By David Goldberg. All right? Quick and easy to read handbook. All right? So when y'all go out, got some good stuff in here, man. See, this is David Goldberg, an Edomite and Caucasian. All right? So something he noticed. Let's go in on a brief history of Caucasian, so-called white people, so-called, not so-called, but so-called white, so-called Caucasian. But these are the Edomites of the Bible. All right? So, chapter 1, a brief history of white people. All right? Caucasians come from damp and cold Europe, which he only goes as far as Europe. Cold means you stay indoors, avoiding sunlight. Little sunlight means lack of vitamin A, which affects bone growth and mood. And he's going to give you some gems. Pay attention. Listen. Imagine living in these conditions over thousands of years. Would one be social or pleasant and accepting of others? Now consider the Black Plague arriving from the east. The plague forced white people from their homes, sent them west in search of more suitable lands. Now, I don't get that part. How does cold push you from your home? You stay in your home and you be warm, right? That makes no sense to me. All right. But the only problem is Western Europe ends in water, the Atlantic Ocean. Thus begun the most pivotal event in world history, the European expansion. Read about that. The European expansion. Read about that. Okay. In search of resources and land, white people sailed all over the world. They went to Asia, Africa, Australia, Alaska, South America, North America, and India. Asia's in Africa, ain't it? White Edomites didn't come from Asia. They came from so-called Africa. But he's speaking of his own experience. And the people of these new lands or new worlds welcomed them oblivious to the great mistake that they were making. And the people of these new lands or new worlds welcomed them oblivious to the grave mistake that they were making. Okay? White people arrived. They claimed the lands and the resources. They told the people of these lands, if you are not white, you are not right. That's that book. That's him. The Edomite on the back page. Right here. See where I'm pushing the page up? That's the back page. That's him. That's him. Right here. If you're not white, you're not white. How else are the Dutch at the bottom of the African continent, claiming to be Africans? If nothing's wrong with that, then where is the African country in Amsterdam or Belgium? Message. See, now he goes into identifying whites by name. Identifying whites by name. There are all types of whites spread throughout the globe. The ethnicities can vary. To distinguish, let's examine a few last names. Some say if the surname ends in a vowel, then that's Italian, Maggiano, Romano, etc. Some of these things Italians are known for are fine clothing, automobiles, and food. To identify Irish, look for the last names with an MC or an O, as in McCormick or O'Brien. There are several others. You will find that many police and firemen are Irish. Geographically, Ireland is not strategically positioned to benefit from the maritime exploits of its neighboring countries. Therefore, some Irish endure a little more hardship than other whites. Also, and if when a non-white encounters an Irish police officer, this frustration will be exact upon the person of color. And if and when a non-white encounters an Irish police officer, this frustration will be exact upon that person of color. I mean, based on what your color is how you're about to be treated. If you're Mexican, they're kind of threaten you because you'll be so nice because you don't want to go back to TJ, Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Cuba, these various islands, Dominican Republic, depending on who you are, that's how you're about to be treated. All right. To help you place Jewish people by name, look for names that have the IE in them, such as Weiss, Klein, Stein, or Lieb. You can also take note of names with Berg or Man at the end, like Barchman, Gorman, Gold, or Silver. Jewish people are very important to understand. Jewish people are very important to understanding current state of world. It is in your absolute best interest to learn as much as you can about them. Why is he saying Jewish people too? Like you gotta really understand them. Some things to make you go, that ain't right. For surname variations to the influence they wield. Money, banking, entertainment, information. 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 These are all industries that are controlled and run by Jewish people. Information. You can get nothing done in this world without being Jewish approved. Take it from a Jewish kid, David Goldberg. There are many other ethnicities to help you identify whites by surname. Why is he calling them whites? There are many other ethnicities to help you identify whites by surname. Polish, Russian, Norwegian, American, etc. This is just an overview. It benefits you to know exactly what type of white person you are dealing with and the ethnicity that they claim. Always remember, however, that no matter which way you silence it, they are all still white. Always remember, however, that no matter which way you slice it, they are all still white. Goldberg, David Goldberg, a Jewish kid, not an Israelite kid, not an Israelite kid, but a Jewish kid. Now he starts to talk about white supremacy. See, everybody's talking about white supremacy these days. Let me see. Supremacy. I hate this camera. White supremacy is next, right here. Now he's going in on that one. This is all in a chapter of identifying whites by name. Now was going into white supremacy. Now he's saying Polish, Russian, Norwegian, American, Irish, Jewish, white people are all white people. That's what he's saying. No matter how you slice it, they are all still white. So now we're going into white supremacy, knowing that all these people are still white. Okay? Whites have always maintained an air of superiority. But here is an actual fact. The phenotypes. What is a phenotype? I'll explain. The set of observable characteristics of an individual resulting the interaction of genotype. The set of observable characteristics. The set of observable characteristics, how they are, how they act, how they observe things, of an individual resulting the interaction of genotype. Okay? The phenotypes, not genotype, I read you the phenotype. So the phenotypes, white skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes are the weakest, the recessive gene. What is recessive, you may ask? I'll tell you. Recessive. Relating to or denoting heritage, characteristics controlled by genes that are expressed in offspring only when inherited from both parents, i.e., when not I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm usually a good writer. I.e., when not by a dominant characteristic inherited from one parent. So, relating to or denoting heritage characteristics controlled by genes that are expressed in offspring only when inherited from both parents, i.e., when not by a dominant characteristics inherited. So, it's an inherited gene. Recessive genes come from both parents, whether it has to be Caucasian, recessive. Okay. So, the phenotypes, white skin, blonde hair, and blue eyes are the weakest. The recessive. Recessive means opposite of dominant, as in the weak. For y'all who are jumping into the room now, I'm reading a book on how to deal with white people. Okay? Do note, however, that it is very important that throughout time, white people have and must continue to project an image of superiority in order to mislead non-whites. And what's the misleading? That they are not as powerful as they make themselves. You just gotta know them. Gotta know them. Gotta figure them out. You gotta learn about them. like they learn about you. This is done through repetition. Oh, I'm sorry. Do note, however, that it is very important that throughout time, white people have and must continue to project an image of superiority in order to mislead non-whites. This is done through repetition, through media saturation. Okay? The white image must be force fed over and over to drive a false sense of supremacy home because by nature, whites are not superior. This is Goldberg saying this, man. So when Caucasians call you nigger, a spick, a chink, a wetback, a beaner, you call them a recessive. They know exactly what they know exactly what the term means. Or for ad amusement, reverse the insult and call them the nigger, for they were the ones that taught the word and behavior in the first place. Now, this is what I've always done. I've always called them the nigger, dirty or black. Because when you call me black man, you basically call me everything nasty, not good, not right. I understand that because I'm not black, I'm brown. I mean, my beard is black. I ain't black. I'm brown. So if you're not calling me brown man and you're calling me black man, you're calling me everything nasty. So that means you must be nasty. You're just a nasty motherfucker. A nasty motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's just what it is. Okay. For they were the ones that taught the word and behavior in the first place. A common hostility. That's next. A common hostility. Something we can relate to. Rule number one, whites will steal your land and pretend they are entitled to it. People of color the world over are all in the same predicament. They have all been exploited by one singular group, white people. Globally, from Australia to Alaska and everywhere in between, people of color are on the receiving end of hostility from whites. It's a uniform constant. For instance, before white people came to India, Africa, and Brazil, there was no AIDS. White people came. Hey, dude going in on his own folks. AIDS came. End of story. Period. Or take another example. In the years 1884 to 85, white men from Europe banded together and decided how to carve up and divide Africa amongst themselves without any input from a soul in Africa. Y'all want to know what this is called? This was called the Berlin Convention. That's why all those old names are not there anymore. The Berlin Convention. Look that up and read it. To put this in proper perspective, imagine you are in your home relaxing, but unknowns to you, another group of men are deciding how to divide up your home and property without so much as even discussing it with you. Serious? Whites have done this to people of color on their home continents all over the world. This vital part of white people's history is instrumental in understanding race relations between Caucasians and non-whites. To add further insult to injury, you would notice that whites refer to people of color as minorities, when in actuality it is and always has been them that are the true minorities. There are more non-white people of there are more non-white people of color on this planet than Caucasians. White people are the only minorities. Feel free to refer to them as such. I do. Matter of fact, I be killing Caucasian boys with that. How you gonna call him an immigrant and you're an immigrant? I don't get that. It's crazy. Hey, the Berlin Conference plays a major role in history. Look up the Berlin Conference. Okay, that's when you start to understand why all the names were changed. All the lands, people are not the same, and everything. The Berlin Conference. Look that up, read about it, and then you might find out the real names of the 51 countries in Africa. You figure out a lot of things. All right, dwelling in the past. This is some things they always do. Look at that. Dwelling in the past. I always be like, why are you always in the past? This book, David Goldberg goes in on it. So-called Edomite, a white boy. Perhaps you heard this before. Oh, what's done is done. You people need to just let it go. Gosh, you're dwelling in the past. Or let's move forward. Discussing history is always a progressive step in a forward direction. Since history is the best metric for measuring future trends, then the survival of people of color will depend upon the revolution of their interactions with whites. Just got to. History is known to naturally repeat itself. It's imperative that non-white take a long, hard look at the history of white folks. So I be telling people, man, you gotta study them. Stop being lazy. And I say that to myself and to you. Everyone considers history, banks, jobs, schools. Now, suddenly, people of color should disregard history? Whites? Perhaps not. No, 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 no. Why do we gotta disregard it? All of a sudden. They don't. Everyone considers history. Banks, jobs, schools. Now, suddenly, people of color should disregard the history of whites? Nah, perhaps not. The only edge whites have allowing them to dominate non-whites in the world where Caucasians are the true minorities is information. Now, who controls the information? He said it over here. Page 12. Current state of the world. It is in your absolute best interest to learn as much as you can about them. Talking about the Jewish people. I go to page 11. To help you place Jewish people by name, look for names that have the IE in them, such as Wise, Klein, Stein, or Laid. You can also take note of names with Berg or man at the end, like Birchman, Gorman, gold or silver. Now, here you go. Jewish people are very important to understanding the current state of the world. Jewish people are very important to understanding the current state of the world. It is in your absolute best interest to learn as much as you can about them, for certain name variations to the influence they wield. To the influence they wield. Remember, the information. Money, banking, entertainment, information. These are all industries that are controlled and run by Jewish people. Let's go back over here. Dwelling in the past, they say. Everyone considers history. Banks, jobs, schools. Now, suddenly, people of color should disregard the history of whites? Perhaps not. The only edge whites have allowing them to dominate non-whites in the world or Caucasians are the minorities, is information. And who are the come on, y'all. He's telling you right here. The only edge whites allowing them to dominate, sorry, the only edge whites have allowing them to dominate non-whites in the world or Caucasians are the true minorities is information. Who controls the information? He's telling you over here that Jewish people are very important to understanding the current state of the world. It is in your absolute best interest to learn as much as you can about them, from surname variations to the influence they wield. And next is going to show you the influence they wield: money, banking, entertainment, information. And he says, the only edge whites have, allowing them to dominate non-whites in the world where Caucasians are the true minorities, is information. And he still calls them in the beginning of the book. He calls Jewish people white people. And he's a Jewish kid. Come on now. Back to the information. As people of color become more informed, to those who are in the who popping up in here, How to Deal with White People by David Goldberg. It's a good book by David Goldberg. Just stay and listen. As people of color become more informed and begin to understand the nature of history. Oh, hold up. Okay. As people of color become more informed and begin to understand the nature and the history of whites, the exploitation of people of color will grind to a halt and the playing field will begin to even out. The more information you have, the playing field will begin to even out. And that is how you even the playing field, is by information. How much information you have. That's why when I be talking to brothers, reach one, teach one. Reach one, teach one. I'm trying to reach you and teach you, brother. I'm trying to give you some information for you to have. So when you see us on those street corners and you pass us up, you're an idiot. Chapter 2. Understanding white people. Y'all stay and listen to this. Stay and listen. Have a seat. Eat some popcorn, man. Chill out. There is a delicate, this is chapter 2, Understanding White People. There is a delicate balance that you'll maintain in dealing with whites when your words and your mannerisms reflect a solid education and awareness of the current real estate of race relationships. That's how you do it. Your words and mannerisms, how you act. There is a delicate balance that you'll maintain in dealing with whites when your words and mannerisms reflect a solid education and awareness of the current real estate of race relations. Gotta understand it. And these are things I knew before him that I learned from elders and other brothers that taught me. So the white boy is giving us some jewels. All right. You'll also exude a calm confidence when you predict that the actions of whites based on the knowledge of their past. That's when you start, you're real calm and you're very eloquent when you speak to them, and you're educated, and they hate it because they expect you to act like a damn fool, a degenerate. And when you come to them and you're educated, they don't like it. That's why we stay calm. They hate Israelites. They look at us and see our fringes hanging off us, like they know they can't fool us. They know they hate us. They be watching our videos before we even come to the office. We know that. I know you be watching them, partner. I can tell. I tell how you come at me because you know better. You know I'm ready for you. I am ready for you. You also exude a calm confidence when you can predict the actions of whites based on the knowledge of their past. One of the best ways to deal with white people is to have a thorough working knowledge of their habits and motivations. True, whites did quite a number on people of color. That's true. They did quite a number on us. Why? Why? That's the question at hand. Here we go. Just a second. Give me a second. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 36, and verse 17. Son of man, When a house of Israel dealt in their own land, see, we're the 12 tribes of Israel: Benjamin, Judah, Levi, Reuben, Simeon, Issachar, Gad, right? Manasseh, Ephraim, Asher, Naphtali, and Zebulun, 12 tribes. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Reuben, Simeon, Issachar, Gad, Manasseh, Ephraim, Zebulun, Asher, Naphtali. 12 tribes. Ezekiel 36 and 17, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land. Let me see. Whites did quite the number on people of color. Let's find out why. Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way and by their doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman. Nasty, like, you're unclean. Get away from me. Wherefore I poured my fury upon them for the blood that they had shed upon the land, and for their idols wherewith they have polluted it. Christianity, Islam, these are idols. And I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries according to their way and according to their doings. I judged them. Remember, the Most High said this, and Hosea chapter 5, all the way to the bottom, verse 15. I will go and return to my place till they acknowledge their offense and seek my face. In their affliction, they will seek me early. That's what the Most High is saying. Back to Ezekiel 39 and 16. And I scattered them among the heathen. When we go back to the book, he says, true, whites did quite a number on people of color. We're talking about the 12 tribes. We're not talking about everybody else. Man. And they were dispersed through the countries according to their way and according to their doings. I judged them. And when they entered unto the heathen, whether they went, they profaned my holy name. When they said to them, these are the people of the Most High and are going forth out of his land. Let me go somewhere else. Watch. Because they did quite a number on this. Let's see. Let me see. Don't want to go there. Baruch. I go to Baruch. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 8. And it reads, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us, for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquity of our fathers, which departed from the Most High our power, to this day for the iniquity of our fathers. Hear, Israel, the commandments of life. Give ear to understanding wisdom. How happeneth it, Israel? How did it happen, Israel? That thou art in thine enemy's land, that thou art waxing old in a strange country, that thou art defiled with the dead, that thou art counted with them that go down into the grave. Dead. We are dead around here, in a dead state. They did quite a number on us. We're in a dead state. Why? Because thou hast forsaken the fountain of wisdom. The fear of the Most High is the beginning of knowledge. Hmm. For if thou hast walked in the way of Yahweh, thou shouldest have dwelt in peace forever. We don't walk in the way of the Most High's commandments no more. We don't. That's why we get done like this. And people writing books saying true. Whites did quite a number of people of color. Talking about us. Learn where is wisdom. Baruch 3 and 14. Learn where is wisdom, where is strength, where is understanding, that thou mayest know also where is length of days and life, where is the light of the eyes and peace. This is just things that happen to us. This is Baruch 4 and 1. This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. And what? And what else? Get done up and get a number done on them. True whites did quite a number on people of color, being written about in other people's books. Let's continue reading. Continue reading this book. True, whites did quite a number on people of color. This must be acknowledged, but it's equally important that a few typical misconceptions regarding racism are cleared up. First off, no energy should be spent trying to reform that which despises you. Mm, 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 mm. Second. I'll go back to tell you that. Never ever. First off, no energy should be spent trying to reform that which despises you. Never ever. Why? Let me go here. Um, the book of Proverbs, chapter 16, verse 4. The Most High hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. They're created for just that. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to the Most High. Though hand join in hand, he shall not be unpunished. So never ever, 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 ever. All right. Whites don't despise you because you're dark. They don't despise you because your neighbor is bad or because you can't read good. They don't discriminate against you because your car isn't registered and you don't have a license. They don't despise you because you don't own any real estate, but you bought some new sneakers, referring to so called Israelite people. They don't hate you because you have thick hair or a wide nose or because you're not educated or because you use double negatives. They hate you just because. Nah, they hate you because they sold their birthright to us. That's why they hate us. He's going to keep a little bit off, but you got to know better. They hate you just because. Just because you're not white. It's that simple. Let's go back to that again. Proverbs 16:4. The Most High hath made all things for himself. Yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Hate not thy brother in thine heart. That's why they broke the brotherly covenant. The Most High don't like them. Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. Romans 9:13. Just because you're not white, it's that simple. Waste not energy on those who despise you, whether through attempts at changing them or yourselves. Your accomplishments do not alter their view of you. None of these reasons contributed to their hatred from the onset. Right? What's the onset? Understand that they have to be laws. Understand that there have to be laws enacted to force Caucasians to respect people that are not white. That's how you know they're vile. You need a law to make you do right. If you don't, if you have no law, if you're lawless, you'll be just like Edomites. Most High knew that. That's why he's always telling you to keep his law. That's why he's always telling you to keep his law. Feel me? Think about that. A law? This suggests that respect for people of color does not occur naturally in Caucasian people. It's pointless to waste energy being upset with them for their nature. Accept white people for what they have shown you they are and not what you want them to be. Stop trying to fix them. Just act according to. Okay? Rejection of difference. It's only fair to consider how thousands of years of living in harsh conditions could affect Caucasians, thus contributing to an incessant fear of everything. Incessant fear of everything. This fear is often manifested as revulsion when they reject anyone different from themselves. Whites are different. Whites are difference intolerant. Whites are difference intolerant. In other words, difference in any form is not, has not, and will not be accepted by them. Indifference and tolerance. We built this country. Let's stop that because we built it. Imagine you own a company called Unitron Corp. You have a 200 floor skyscraper downtown with your microchips in every cell phone. You are a gazillionaire. In fact, the people on printed money actually look like you and are non white. The people on printed money actually look like you and are not white. Are the janitors and mailroom clerks that work in your skyscraper entitled to the same stock options as you and your shareholders? Hmm? Hmm? You came up with the plan. They are just the grunts. This is the whites' perspective on people of color who have either toiled in slave or slave like labor. You are just the grunts. You are entitled to nothing. You are more than expendable. You are just cogs in their grand scheme. Even poor whites who are not connected to this grand scheme, whites who may come from poor families, will always treat you like you are dirt and they are of royal blood. This is because you are as your people are, and they understand that, but my people don't. The image of whites is communicated as success and material wealth. That is why so many rappers appear foolish, boasting their money and riches when people the world over with their skin complexions are poor. The richest people of color are always being mistreated by whites because in white people's mind, only people with white skin run the world. Hmm. I'm gonna stop on this last one. It's called Getting Familiar. Getting familiar. Here we go. Understanding white requires familiarization through general observation. Let's examine a few. Over time, you will notice more. Whites will push you as far as possible until you stop them. They will not stop themselves. It's up to you to create boundaries early and often. For instance, whites will discover sudden surges of courage when accompanied by a medium to large sized dog, whereas they would not so much as make eye contact with a person of color when alone. They need somebody with them to be bold. Accompanied by a dog, they will be bold and even more offensive. To counter this, always level your attention with the white person that owns the dog. Do not smile or laugh. Don't focus on the dog. Avoid interacting with the dog owner until they are without canine. Never let white people stand behind you, no matter what they say. Whites are constantly examining, watching, and scrutinizing you. As soon as you sense something, as soon as you sense someone white standing behind you, turn around immediately and look them in the eyes. They will excuse themselves and give you your space. Standing behind you affords them the opportunity to tip confrontational odds to their favor. Because in their head, they start thinking how much better they are if you fuck you, they're doing this to you. When you turn on and acknowledge them, that's when they stop and get scared. Caucasians can only operate with an unfair advantage, like white person plus a dog, or white person plus a position of power, or white person plus standing behind you, or white person plus sitting high in a horse, on a horse, or picking or a pickup truck, or a white person plus 12 to 15 of his cohorts setting a home on fire in the dead of the night while women and children sleep. And make no mistake, Caucasians will find zero shame in claiming a victory from these uneven odds. I'll stop there. A minute. And most high will finish this tomorrow. This is Officer Marakad, Shield of Wisdom, Norfolk. With that, Shalom.